around this time of year, we generally work on our resolutions. Resolution means a determination to do or to not do something. And so we resolve, we're going to lose weight, eat better, we're going to have better habits, we're going to eliminate some bad habits. But how often do those resolutions not even make it off the page that we write them on? And when they do, life happens. We get busy, time gets short, we find other things to do. And we're forced to compromise our resolutions. I'm going to tell you a story about a young man who made a resolution and who never compromised it. Daniel's life had been turned upside down. He was taken into captivity. He was made a slave, forced into a 3-year mandatory study under the service of the king. And the goal of the Chaldeans becomes pretty obvious. They want to homogenize the Jewish captives. That just simply means to make uniform or to blend in. The king wanted them to act and to think and to dress and to behave like him. But that never works very well for God's people. People like Daniel show that God's people never blend in very well into any kind of society. And Daniel and his friends even make some very reasonable compromises, like their names. But Daniel refuses to compromise his principles. In Daniel 1 and verse 8, it says, "But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portions of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine of which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he would not defile himself." And you go to Leviticus chapter 11, you're reminded that God says you're going to be my special people, and because of that, you're not going to eat certain things, but when you do, you defile yourselves. And so Daniel resolved not to defile himself. And so I'm going to suggest to you that Daniel already drew that line before he was ever confronted with it. Daniel had a won't list. He knew where his line was, and he knew he wasn't going to step over it. That phrase, making up your mind or resolving there, in the Hebrew, that's the idea of making a rope. Now you put all the strands of the rope together, and that's what gives the rope its strength. And so every moral fiber of Daniel's being was called upon in making this decision. And Daniel was not going to defile himself no matter what the cost was. And so like Daniel, we need more resolve in our lives. That means being determined to let Christ be the Lord of our lives and doing what he says. That means we need to refuse to allow ourselves to be defiled by sin. And it means we need to align our won't list with what God has already revealed in his written word. But for us to do that, we need to know what it says. And so let's resolve to study our Bibles more.